What are some of the lessons that one learns in treatment that can be implemented when you go out?
So let me answer it, but reframe it. So, being at Karen for almost 18 years now, I spent 6 years on the relapse unit, 5 years as the director. Would always get asked the question, why do people relapse? Right? That's what you're asking me in a different way. And so it was a very simple question. And what I realized after being able to sit with patient after patient after patient, because it was a relatively small unit, I got to meet with just about every patient who came through. One of the things I realized was in some simplistic math, there's really only two reasons somebody's going to relapse. They forget they're sick, or they didn't believe they were sick to begin with, or they've got an issue that they can't cope with, and chemicals or that other behavior are really the only short-term answer. So to answer your question, it's the same as answering those questions. What's something somebody can do? Remember why you went to rehab in the first place, right? You didn't go there because you were on a winning streak. You went there because there was enough pain, either internal or external. Change needed to happen, right? And the fact is, if somebody is alcoholic addict, use the term you want, it's a chronic progressive disease. It's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. One of the most dangerous things is when somebody finishes treatment, they're feeling like $1 million, and they go home and they're like, I feel like $1 million. I haven't felt this good in years. I probably can have just one. I can do this again. I know better. Bowtie taught me everything I need to know. I can figure this out. I'm a smart guy. I'm the smartest guy in my head, right? What I call clinically failure to fully self-diagnose. Do I have an issue? Yes. And what am I willing to do to treat the issue? That's any healthcare. That's the bottom line, right? If I don't think my blood pressure is that bad, I'm not taking my blood pressure medication. Even if my doctor says, you fool, you're going to stroke out. Right? I know better. So I think that's that piece. The other piece is having the coping skills or developing the coping skills to deal with life on life's terms. Just because somebody comes to treatment and gets sober doesn't mean that life's going to be dandy. Sometimes life actually feels worse because you're not numbing yourself out. Like, oh shit, I do have a lot of bullshit to deal with. Fuck, never dealt with that before. Right? I have a patient, he's got 16 years sober. Guy is a Vietnam vet, spent 1 year and 1 day basically almost always in combat. Got out of Vietnam, came home, started drinking a bottle of scotch a day for 40 years. Comes to treatment. He comes to treatment, he starts feeling better and feeling worse. Because instead of drinking a bottle of scotch a day to drown the nightmares, he's now having the nightmares that have been there for 40 years that he simply hasn't experienced. He did the right thing, went to the VA, got help, got a PTSD diagnosis, got treatment for it, and continues to work on it today, 16 years later, but has not given up because he's built the coping skills, and he diagnoses himself as an alcoholic who cannot drink, right? And he'll sit there and say to me, Eric, I'm going to die sober. Like, all right, just don't die now. We got another 5 rounds to go. We golf together. But I think about that, like, sometimes shit doesn't get better when you get sober. Sometimes shit feels worse. That's the reality. Okay? And there's nothing I can do about that. I can't guarantee life's going to get better. Life will become more manageable if you stay that course. I think sobriety can promise you answers, or at least opportunities, that otherwise you wouldn't have if you're chemically enhanced or doing other shit.